Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by John Donovan and Longhorn Wealth Management Group. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined daily by Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. Tell us where you're checking in from this morning, what you're drinking, get your questions in. We're going to get to those in a little bit. We are also 61 days away from kickoff. So we'll talk about who your favorite number 61 is a little bit later in the show. It's Monday. Marcus Myers is going to be joining us as well. But before we get to any of that, Jerry, Texas, they got some good news over the weekend and also still chasing a couple of recruits out there.
Yeah, obviously, we've talked a lot about Ismail Kamara committing on July 4th, kind of rounded out, finished off the early offensive line class of 5, as you see here. This Texas class now ranked in the top 5 in the country. We'll talk about what the next 2 decisions could mean for Texas, for the recruiting class rankings, for those that follow that, because it does still matter. Look how bad Alabama fans are if you don't think it matters, even though I think they're going to go more money on their portal class. But obviously, Ismail Kamara commits to Texas on July 4th. There's your 5-man offensive line class. They got both of their tackles. They got 2 tackles in Swanson and Kamara. Then you got 3 interior guys. Lucas Rowe comes in as a swing player, but probably begins his career at guard. Jackson Cook will be a center or guard. Keon Hemphill-Woods will be a guard. So they got their 5-man offensive line class. They got 3 on the D-line, obviously 2 at the edge. Jabarius Garor, who we had on Rodna had on Longhorn live stream last night. If you guys missed that, y'all get to hear from Jabarius Garor last night for about 15 minutes. He spent a lot of time with us. It was a great interview. I call him more of a linebacker. He's an overhang linebacker. So you can call him an edge, you can call him a linebacker, but he's more of that overhang linebacker. You got 3 corners in the class, which was the goal. And Brandon Sherrard has position flex. I think he can play any spot in the secondary. And then you got junior two-poet safety. Obviously, this is a top 5 level class. And then it gets to the 2 decisions. Some people say 3. What's Eastern Roll going to do? But that's going to play out over time here. The 2 guys who are not committed anywhere, who have decisions to make more than likely in the first half of the month of July. Landon Williams-Callis, and it could go a little later than that for Landon Williams-Callis. We'll see. But I talked to a source on him over the weekend, and they said that announcement will probably be at a restaurant. It'll be a big deal. He's a hometown hero. That's not just going to be, here's your edit and commitment and we're done with this. No, that's not the way this is going to go down. It's probably going to be at a restaurant, and it's going to be a really big deal because Landon Williams-Callis, obviously a football family there, Michael Lewis, Jaquiz, and James Rogers. I mean, all of those guys are hometown heroes in Richmond, Rosenberg, and this will be a big celebration of an announcement. We still have really good feelings on Texas there. We'll see what he does, but all the chatter right now is more positive, a lot more positive for Texas than anybody else chasing Texas. And then Monson Sales, we've heard July 10th around there. So in the next week or so, Sales will probably come out with an announcement date on the decision and then his decision. All signs point to Indiana versus Texas. You don't want to rule out power schools like LSU or Ohio State. The only one we've really taken out pretty much is Alabama right now. That won't be a surprise. And that's just not coming from us. That's coming from other people as well that we talk to, obviously, about sales recruitment. But it's really feeling like Indiana versus Texas. A lot of momentum early on with Indiana. And we'll see. But I think Texas is right there, Bobby. I think to end, if Texas were to win out for Landon Williams-Callis, they'd likely vault to the number 2 or 3 class, depending on if Notre Dame or Miami got somebody else too. So
on Sales, Jerry, I mean, just to clarify that, we hear it's Indiana, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But what is Indiana hearing? Is Indiana hearing it's Indiana versus Ohio State, Indiana, Texas? I think the common factor with Sales, and this is what Texas or any school has to overcome, it's been almost from the outset, Indiana right? And right now it's Texas. Texas, I think, does expect word from Sales sometime this week. He does not announce publicly until July 10th.
Well, he hadn't even put that date out, so that's not a locked-in date.
Okay, but that's basically when we expect a commitment one way or the other. I do believe Indiana holds I don't want to say holds the cards, but they are the team to beat, and they are the one that everybody has been trying to knock off the pedestal from the outset for him. Much like people are trying to knock off Texas on Easton Royal, the wide receiver out of New Orleans that LSU's giving in hot race to right now for University of Texas. I want to go back to something else. If you could go back, Blake, if you don't mind.
I want to say this on sales real quick. What Indiana, I think, battles, and I'm not saying they're not going to win, but here's what they battle. We've talked about it with some other schools. Indiana won a national championship, yes, but Monshun Sales, when he was a kid growing up, did not dream of playing for Indiana.
Yes, that's true.
So that's what Indiana's battling, I think, is to get over that finish line. I mean, Sales reached out to Texas. So Sales has big eyes in college football, as most five-star guys do. Ohio State, LSU. Those are OVs. Alabama, where he's originally from. He was going to visit Miami, canceled that for Texas. So Indiana, we talk about it with Landon Williams-Callis recruitment, that SMU's got to get over a hump that all these schools have to get over that aren't blue bloods, or in Oregon. These kids didn't grow up dreaming of playing there. We'll see if they can overcome it, Bobby.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Texas did get reached out to, but that's not the only school he necessarily reached out to. Yeah. That's people think he reached out to Texas specifically. He reached out to other schools too. And grew up an Alabama fan, grew up an SEC fan. I think that could matter as much as some other aspects. Hey, Blake, do you mind bringing up the commitment list? Because this Ismail Kamara thing, I want to mention, Jerry, you and I talk about this. We don't always go in depth on this stuff. But Ismail Kamara becomes the fifth offensive line commitment. You talked a little bit about that. And you mentioned Brian Swanson, Lucas Roa, Jackson Cook, Keon Hemphill Woods. It's very funny. I was talking with a former Longhorn player over the weekend, and we were I was sending him video of the different offensive linemen because he was looking for Ismail Kamara film. He's one of those guys that likes to view videotape. You know what I mean? And long story short, there's not really much out there of him. And so he was looking at other guys, and I sent him Keon Hemphill Woods. He really was impressed with Keon Hemphill Woods, Jerry. Liked his tenacity, his quickness, his strength, kind of some football IQ in there. We often pass over him when we talk about some of the top players in this Texas class. That came from a guy that may know a thing or two about football. Go watch Keon Hemphill Woods film, fellas. Just putting it out there.
He, for those that don't know, he plays for Matt Schobel, who played in the NFL, played at TCU, obviously hometown hero in Columbus, won of a state championship as a head coach. He is a tough coach. I mean, he is demanding. He won state at Columbus, guys. I mean, like that, that hasn't been done very often. He's a demanding guy, and I think that helps Keon Hemphill Woods because, he's committed to Texas now. Schobel is going to push him probably harder than the other player he has, maybe outside his own son. But Keon Hemphill Woods plays for a really demanding coach that played at the highest level that I think is going to push him. But Keon Hemphill Woods is a really good he's got really good feet and bend.
If we have time later in this coffee and football this morning, I'd like to maybe play some video of Keon Hemphill Woods just to people give. We do a lot of this. We're following, as Jerry and I have talked about this many times before, you follow the latest news. So everybody knows and is talking about Landon Williams-Callis and Monshun Sales. But other guys that have already committed, sometimes you forget how they're in the mix. I think it might be good to go back and look at that. Before we go to the next topic, though, we need to tell everybody about our sponsor on Monday's Coffee and Football. We'd like to thank John Donovan, President, Longhorn Wealth Management Group. John's a proud Texas Ex's Life member, and his wife and 6 siblings are also UT grads. It was John's passion for UT that led him to brand his firm, Longhorn Wealth Management Group. John's dedicated to designing risk management and mitigation strategies to develop and defend the wealth of UT alums and employees as well as UT fans across the nation. For more than 30 years, John's helped clients create their wealth, but even more importantly, protect their wealth from risk, including investment, insurance, and estate planning services that can help, that can devastate you if you're not properly protected. John loved kicking off his 4th of July celebration on Saturday with the commitment of Ismail Kamara and the fact that his commitment pushed UT firmly into a top 5 class. So John wants to celebrate this incredible recruiting success by Sark & Company by offering every OTF fan a free private consultation via Zoom, phone, or in person to allow John to show you how working with a certified financial planner can help you minimize your taxes, maximize your wealth, and ensure your legacy and or reduce and eliminate the risk to both your current and future financial success. To schedule your free private consultation, just call the Longhorn Wealth Team 972-707-4900 or schedule online at www.longhornwealth.net. John and the rest of the Longhorn Wealth Team send you all a huge Longhorn 100 winner. Hook 'em. That's John and Longhorn Wealth Management. Thank you, John, for your ongoing support of On Texas Football.
And thank you, Bobby. Well, guys, earlier I said it's Monday, which means it's a Marcus Myers Monday. I'm going to bring him on in. Good morning to you, Marcus.
Oh, he forgot that he
but I wasn't going to say it.
Forgot I was muted. I'm struggling with this, man. Blake, you whatever you have passed on to me, I got to get rid of. But I'm doing well, man. I had a great 4th of July weekend. I got to go up to Dallas. One of my nieces' birthday is tomorrow, so McKinley turns 9. So we kind of used the weekend as a means to celebrate and got to kick back and, just kind of enjoy family a good bit and had a really good weekend. So happy to be here with you fellas.
I got to say, before we get into the 10 games Joel Klatt says are the most important, I've got to tell you guys that Marcus, he's not even closeted about this. He is a huge track and field fan.
Yes, sir.
And so Marcus and I and Jerry, we all trade texts every so often, and other people, Rod's track and field too. We all trade texts every so often about amazing track feats.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, we talked about this a little bit. I think there's a quantum leap going on in track across. I mean, we talked about Dylan Mitchell out of the Houston area, the young man that's running sub 10 flat 100 meters as a sophomore. But one of the things that happened over the weekend, the Prefontaine Classic happened up or Invitational, I think it is, Marcus, happened up in Eugene, Oregon. And Tate Taylor out of San Antonio area he beat the Olympic champion. He just graduated from high school in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Ran a 19.75 200 meter. I mean,
into a headwind.
Unbelievable.
Into a headwind, not with a tailwind. Into a headwind.
Yeah. So Marcus, that we'll start that out because I know you were smiling. We were talking about that. Other guys.
Yeah.
Let's get to this. Top 10 games for Joel Klatt, if we can. Blake, you got it?
Yeah, definitely. So late last week, Joel Klatt put out the 10 games that will impact the 2026 college football season the most. And for those listening, he has Oklahoma at Michigan as number 1, Ohio State at Texas 2, LSU at Ole Miss 3, USC at Penn State 4, Texas at Oklahoma rounds out the top 5. And then we can go jump over to number 9 as well, Texas at Texas A&M. So, guys, the Longhorns on here 3 times.
Yeah, he does go in chronological or he does go in order here, right, by date, to be clear. It's September 12th, 19th. October 10th, 7th. So I don't think this is a list saying Oklahoma and Michigan is the number 1 game. I think these are his 10 games. It's kind of the date they're being played. But he does have Oklahoma, Michigan over Ohio State, Texas. And, the Michigan-Oklahoma game, it will be Fox. But what it tells you, what it does say guys, to me on September 12th is Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Texas. Well, either Ohio State and Texas are going to take a loss. And Oklahoma on the road, you don't really know what Michigan's going to look like. And back foot Bryce is going to have to improve, the Michigan quarterback this year. But a couple of teams that are ranked very highly, and this is why it's impactful, could take a loss really early. I mean, if you look at it and say, if the home teams win, if Oklahoma and Ohio State were to take losses, man, then their back's against the wall the rest of the season. That's pretty much what it's telling us right out of the gate.
I look at it, to your point about back foot price. That's a good one, Jerry. Hadn't heard that one yet. Brent Venables. I wrote an article this weekend, and I wanted to get Marcus's thought process on this a little bit because I think it does tie into the conversation around Oklahoma. Jerry, Texas thinks they're going to be better this year. We think Texas is going to be better. Texas should be better. Texas added 4 all-conference players plus Cam Coleman to this list, right? My thought process here is the question that I have. I think that's fair. Is other teams think they got better too?
Yeah.
One of those teams that think they got better is Oklahoma.
Yep.
They think they've got a better run game. Their offensive line's more experienced. They got an inline tight end they think can block. Their defensive front didn't really lose much, and they're a year older. Other teams think they're going to be better too. LSU thinks they're going to be better this year, obviously under Lane Kiffin. I was looking through the list. I mean, you could go team by team right now, and a lot of the ones that Texas faces, they think they're going to be better. Oklahoma is one of those. Ohio State, does Ohio State think they're going to be better or just as competitive this year now that they have a second-year starter in Julian saying they have their starter from day one at running backs, Bo Jackson now. He didn't play much against Texas. So we'll see if these teams actually are better this season.
It's crazy at the start of these games, Marcus. If you look at Oklahoma's schedule, Oklahoma at Michigan is a must-win game for Oklahoma. So you were calling a road game a must-win game. To me, you know why that's a must-win game for Oklahoma? They're at Georgia 2 weeks after.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't beat Michigan and they don't win at Georgia, they have no margin for error after 4 games.
Yeah, that's fair.
Done.
That's fair.
Like, they can't lose another game. That's a must-win game for Oklahoma when you have at Georgia 2 weeks later. And Ohio State and Texas, I think, is a must-win game for both teams because you don't want to have all that pressure of only having one more hiccup on your schedule.
And I'm glad you pointed out, Jerry, that this is chronological order, right? Like, even OU Michigan being the first game, it's earlier in the day. Texas and Ohio State play that night. I think as you kind of look through it, that ends up kind of being the story for most of the games that are listed there. But you're absolutely right. I think, where you started out, Bobby, about OU thinking they're better, I would be pretty shocked if they're not. Honestly, that's not the type of team I'm used to from an Oklahoma per se. I definitely think that, Brent Venables hasn't forgotten how to call a defense, and, getting some of those guys to be able to continue to mature in it, I think will certainly, behoove them. Now, look, you can feel however you want about, Mateer, but he did have a young offensive line. Some of those guys should have some experience, and they certainly have talent. So I think, they should be better this year, and that'll be a good, way for us to measure them pretty early out the gate, right before, we end up watching Ohio State and Texas play that same evening. The other thing that comes to mind just for this schedule is, just the challenge of it. I know we did a video on this, but, when the Walter Camp All-American list came out, there are 13 guys on Texas's schedule that are on either the first or second team of that Walter Camp All-American preseason list. And if you do end up matching up against Georgia in the SEC championship game in December, you would add another 3 to that. So it's kind of filtered throughout here. When you look at the number of times that Ohio State shows up on here, they had, I think, 3 guys on the first team, or no, 2 guys on the first team offense and 1 on the second team of that same Walter Camp list. And I imagine if you just kind of dig through most of these teams, that's what a lot of them are going to have in common. So there are definitely a number of marquee matchups that, we'll get an opportunity to get our eyes on and start seeing how these teams stack up.
So I got to ask y'all a question. We talk about OU Michigan, just all of us had a little bit to say there. What do you think, without knowing, I hope y'all don't know, what do you think the line is on that game? Don't tell anybody, Blake, if you already know it. But, Jerry, what do you think that line is on that game? Can't look. Be looking at.
I'm just a total guess. Y'all know I'm not a lines guy. I'm Oklahoma 1.5 maybe.
Marcus,
Give me Michigan 3.5.
Wow. Michigan 2.5.
No.
Close.
Now, I want to say this. Oklahoma, I thought Michigan looked helpless against Oklahoma last year. Did y'all not think that in that game in Norman? Obviously, what is Bryce Underwood that much better in year 2, or is Kyle Whittingham that much better?
I think it's Whittingham.
Yeah.
I think it's Whittingham.
I do too.
No offense. I mean, Michigan's not like a tough place to play.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be in the daytime. I mean, I can't. I have a hard time believing Michigan's 2.5-point favorites. I'm with Jerry on that. Not with
I only called it because of the time of the year, Bobby. I think by the time that game gets closer, I wouldn't be shocked if it's flipped. But
yeah.
I think for this time of year, it's kind of headlines. They do some of the look ahead lines and that kind of thing. And so I think there's probably a lot baked into Whittingham and thinking that, just someone that's much more competent. Let's just face it, right?
Yeah.
Just running the show as a whole would benefit. I think, for whatever you think of Bryce Underwood, I think they said he had like 2 or 3 offensive coordinators or quarterback coaches last year, didn't have a dedicated quarterback coach, that kind of thing.
His head coach was a little preoccupied, apparently.
Yeah. He had some other things, on his plate. So
I guess what I was saying, though, y'all, I guess what I was trying to convey, I am much more of the opinion that Michigan or that OU should be almost a touchdown favorite.
No.
Like I don't think that's a close game based on what I saw.
Look,
maybe I'm wrong.
What I saw in the Citrus Bowl really concerned me for Bryce Underwood.
Yeah.
You cannot live off your back foot as a quarterback that much. If he lives off his back foot as much against Oklahoma as he did against Texas, Oklahoma's going to crush him. He's going to make bad decisions. He's going to throw interceptions in that game. I'm jokingly calling him back foot Bryce because I've seen him play off his back foot way too much. He cannot be successful doing that. So I have to see a different Bryce Underwood for me to believe in him.
But I don't know. I think you will, Jerry. And this isn't me knowing a ton about what's going on in the Michigan program. But again, can you imagine what any of our fans would be saying if you were to tell them that Arch didn't have a quarterback coach? Yeah. Now, granted, Sark is the OC, or Sark is kind of the mastermind. Yeah. But if you were a program that didn't have a coach like that could double as a quarterback whisperer, and you're expected to be taken seriously, and you just don't have one, he's not even on the roster, right? I think that to me was malpractice among any number of other things that were going on in the Michigan program. So. And then the young man is a competitor. I don't think he was highly ranked for no reason. And so I just imagine that something, has to kind of flip relatively dramatically the other way. I see a bunch of people asking about my hat. Okay. Just so y'all know, it's just a brand. I forget the name of it, but I first saw it in Dallas. So you'll see kind of the Dallas upside down. I'm still a Longhorn. It's not a upside down hook'em or anything like that. It's just a Texas hat, guys. I just want to throw it on this morning.
That's a new thing, basically, or hopefully. I gotta say, hopefully it passes. I don't like the upside down.
Hey, Blake, could you bring the games back up again? I want to make a point on something that's going to be interesting. I think the most dangerous game for any team on this schedule is LSU at Ole Miss. When Chris Beard went back to Texas Tech, that was one of the ugliest scenes we've seen in college sports. It was truly ugly. I mean, guys like Jay Billis are saying, I've never seen anything like this. When Lane Kiffin rolls his team in the Ole Miss, guys, I'm very interested to see what that's going to look like. I don't know if they're going to bring the level of Texas Tech hate to it, but they may. That game has a chance to be wild. And I think LSU is good, a much more talented team, but that's also early in the Lane Kiffin era, and he will have already played Clemson. So just like Oklahoma, if LSU doesn't beat Clemson in his first game, he's going to play Trinidad Chambliss in a must-win game in one of the ugliest environments he's probably ever coached in. That's going to be very interesting to me.
Ole Miss fans are docile, though.
Yeah, they're not Tech fans.
They're too busy, using like what do they have like silverware in their tailgates and chandeliers? I mean, come on. I mean, really? That's like trying to tell me. I was once told, Tony Barnhart, the old Atlanta Journal-Constitution guy, once told me, "Oh, well, the cocktail party in Jacksonville is nothing like the Red River rivalry in Texas." And I'm like, dude, you call it a cocktail party. A cocktail party is not the Red River shootout. I mean, one's a fight, the other's a party. I mean, at Ole Miss, it's more of a party than a football game. It's like a party is held and then a football game breaks out. It's not. So I hear you. It could be ugly, but I don't know. I mean, Ole Miss is still. I don't know.
If I'm Ole Miss, I'd bus in about 3 bus loads of just fans from some team and get them all liquored up, and then let them stand. Give them tickets to the game. Let them stand by the LSU bus. I mean, I would set the whole thing up.
Jerry, what are you
I would bus in angry Mississippi State fans or drunk Tennessee fans or something and just give them Ole Miss gear and say, we're paying you for the day. Go make this the worst environment ever for Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin does have the most hates in the SEC, by the way. Tennessee and Ole Miss fans universally hate him for leaving their team at the altar, essentially.
I mean, there's never been Chris Beard really hurt Texas Tech, right? With the way that all went down. Yeah. We're going to find out if Ole Miss fans have real anger, because what Lane did to them has never been done in college athletics.
Mm-hmm. Well, Marcus, as always, thank you so much for joining us each and every Monday morning.
Yes, sir.
Turn that hat up, right side up. See if it works.
No, there's nothing wrong with my hat. It's just
turn it upside down.
I'm keeping it. I got more of them back there too. I'm gonna start wearing. This might be all I wear now. Yep. I'm gonna troll everybody.
I got bad news for Marcus though with this hat. Chat. The first person I saw. Now this brand's been around. The last person I saw with a hat like that, John Mateer, was wearing an Oklahoma hat like that.
He doesn't
Marcus
count.
and Mateer have something in common.
He doesn't count. No, we don't. We have nothing in common. Nothing in common.
I love that.
Absolutely.
All right, I got a question before you leave, Marcus.
Yeah.
Your favorite track event? The fall.
Ooh.
Because we start off.
For me, it's the one that closes it, the 4x4.
Yeah.
I've seen some really good ones. I think I've told y'all before, one of my best friends is Jeremy Warner, so I've gotten a chance to watch him anchor a number of 4x4s in his day. And it's just something about it, especially if, you got a guy that's coming from pretty far back, or even a gal, right? When I was at Texas, the women own the collegiate 4x4 record. I'm sure to Bobby's earlier point, it's since been shattered, but there's nothing like, watching somebody come back from 50 to 100 meters down and then just walk somebody on the back, on the home stretch, and you hear the crowd roaring and all the things. So, yeah, for me, it's the 4x4.
Good stuff.
Yep, it's 4x4.
All right, Marcus. Thank you so much. Appreciate you as always.
I'll see y'all later. Okay.
Later, buddy.
Bye, Marcus.
Do not talk bad about Marcus's fashion sense. We found a weak spot there. Gary, you gotta needle that next
Steve
time.
Sarcasm, upside down OTF hat inbound. I totally agree. That'd be awesome.
That will not be happening, folks. That will not be happening.
Come on, Bobby, join the.
The O is just gonna look like an O. I mean, what? It's gonna be
join the fashion. Join the fashion.
Yeah, I'm clearly very fast. Y'all can tell.
Well, we got more to talk about. We're going to get to y'all's questions here in just a moment. But first, Jerry, can you let everyone know about Zen AI this morning?
Oh, I definitely can do that. This summer, don't just watch the game, vibecast it. Zen AI is the home of vibecasting, a new way to capture and share real sports conversations. No studio, no fancy gear, and your phone is the whole setup. Argue about who should have taken the last shot, breaking down every play, hit record, talk it out, and Zen AI turns that convo into a sportscast you can share as clips, reels, and even TikToks. An AI producer works behind the scenes, cleaning up audio, cutting highlights, and helping you tweak your edits just by chatting in plain English. Go live while the game is on, or record your hot takes after. Bring your own co-host, or find another fan in Zen AI's network. This summer, Zen AI is paying new Vibecasters to launch their first sportscast. Humans are the talent, AI is the infrastructure. Zen AI is invite only. Head to zen.ai to join the waitlist. That's zen.ai, or tap the link in our show notes. Zen AI.
And Bobby, if you'd be so kind to let everyone know about Mint Mobile this morning.
Absolutely. There are things in life that you don't want to be transparent, like your swimsuit or your search history or Jerry's text messaging chains. But when it comes to your wireless bill, transparency is everything. That's why Mint Mobile's wireless plans have no gimmicks and no gotchas, just high-speed data and reliable coverage on the T-Mobile 5G network. And right now, all plans are $15 per month, even the unlimited ones. Mint Mobile took what's wrong with wireless and made it right with premium wireless for just $15 a month. You can even bring your current phone and your number, and you can choose from 3, 6, or 12-month plans and say goodbye to a monthly bill. Again, ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile. It's easy to sign up online and get 3 months of premium wireless for just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for $15, go to mintmobile.com/ontexas. That's mintmobile.com/ontexas. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/ontexas. That's it. There's no catch. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months is the plan that's required. That's a $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabyte may slow when network is busy. Includes up to 20 gigabyte hotspot. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. Again, that is mintmobile.com/ontexas.
All right. Well, we got some super chats that we need to get to this morning. This first one here from Terrence. Thank you, Terrence. He says, Bobby and Jerry, I got listed 7 number 1 different running backs I wrote down, 3 from Texas. Why are all these guys ranked the number 1 running back recruit for the 2027 class?
I'm not. I don't know that I understand.
I think you throughout all the rankings, there's 7 different number 1s between the 3 major services, the combined rankings, all that stuff.
I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you how other people are thinking these days. I would just say this as I look at it. There are a couple guys that I really liked that I thought were special. One of them was the young man, Landon Williams-Callis, out of Richmond Randall that Texas is on. The other one's the running back out of Chattanooga that I think just chose Tennessee. Did he not, Jerry?
He has not chosen yet.
He has not chosen yet? Okay. Those are the 2 best that I saw. Now, neither one of those guys are super big, so I think there might be other guys that just want bigger size guys, if that makes sense, for their number 1s. But I don't pay too much attention to those national rankings in that category. One of the things I used to always love to do is watch running backs, but I thought those were the 2 best that I saw of all the ones I've watched so far.
Yeah, I think there's 3 guys that, come on, Spell from Pennsylvania going to Georgia. Obviously, David Gabriel Georges from Chattanooga, and Landon Williams-Callis. I think those guys are pretty much ranked the top 3. And then, there's a couple other guys. David Segarra from Burns, South Carolina, who Jabbar Jaluk had offered at Florida. But I think then when he got the Texas job, obviously they were going on Noah Roberts and Landon Williams-Callis. David Segarra is very, very good to me. He committed to LSU. I think he's very good. Those 4 guys kind of jumped off to me. The crazy thing is the sleeper running back in the country to kid at Tyler High, Kadarius Miller. He put up some big going to Oregon, 6'1", 195. He put up some big track times. He put up some big track times. So I look at that. And the one thing I would say for running backs too, Bobby, that he's now moved on to a big time school because of the history. You always got to see who Matt Campbell signed at running back to me.
No, pretty good.
You got to take a second look. They took Aiden Woodruff out of South Carolina. So there were 2 really good running backs in South Carolina this year. Neither one of them stayed home. But Aiden Woodruff signed with Penn or committed to Penn State. Probably everybody should go take a second look at that guy because Matt Campbell has a pretty good history with running backs at Iowa State.
He really does. Does a good job with him.
And then we got one here from Edgar Padilla. Thank you, Edgar. Appreciate you. He says, good morning, OTF. I admit I was in panic mode about the 2027 class a month or 2 ago. But once again, Sark and company proved they got this. Bogo.
Patience is something that we preached. It's easier said than done. There were people calling for Kyle Flood's job, nothing short of it. Well, if he doesn't do it in recruiting, what are we doing? And here we are a month later, and there's 5 commitments, including the top 2 tackles on the board. And you grab someone from California that is really, really talented. I think that Texas marches to its own beat in recruiting. Now, they are aware of what is going on around them. They're not oblivious to it, nor are they ambivalent to it. I mean, they don't want to lose players to other teams too early, but they didn't feel like that happened this year, and they just stayed the course. And here we are. They have a chance to have the number 1 class in the country. Texas has that opportunity. They close out with Williams Callis and Monshawn Sales and keep Easton Royal. That's the bottom line. So
yeah, I mean,
agree. Edgar, I would just say this: just keep this in mind next year. Like, keep it in mind, because Jerry and I both, when Sark first came to Texas, there were a couple of recruitments that were eye-opening to us, and not in a good way. And I'll say that, like Bryce Anderson, for example, was wanting to go to Texas, we thought, but ended up going to A&M because Jimbo Fisher pushed harder for an earlier commitment, ultimately. Yeah. Now, he went ahead and did it, and we thought, wow, Sark's not pushing as hard for early commitments, and this could be a negative for Sark in the state of Texas where it's very hyper-competitive. Yeah. And A&M had, the leeway of the SEC. But what has happened post that commitment really is I think we've seen Texas come to dominate recruiting under Steve Sarkisian in a Lone Star State. I mean, as much as one can dominate recruiting these days. I feel like he adapted, his mentality adapted. But while it adapted, Jerry, it didn't stray. Does that make like he adapted, but he didn't go and say, oh, I need to change everything I'm doing in life or anything like that. It was subtle. But give them the benefit of the doubt, trust but verify always. But Jerry and I were sitting here following this for you guys in April and May. Okay. And we were pretty outspoken that this is going to end up okay for Texas. Did we not, Jerry? I mean, we were. And so give us a little bit of leeway to help communicate that to you. But Sark and his staff deserve all the credit for what they've done in the class they've put together. And I think it's not done. So,
yeah, mine is. I think that's the fun of following recruiting. It's kind of the ups and downs of it, the roller coaster ride. The one thing I'll say with Texas, I'm never concerned. They're a top 3 NIL school. I mean, I hate to put it in simple terms, but sometimes it's a simple answer. The teams that have the biggest NIL budgets are going to be fine as long as they pick good enough players.
That's the big piece.
If they put money into the wrong guys, then that class will look bad in 3 years. But that's kind of why I don't ever really get worried. And yeah, we know how Sark recruits, but Texas is one of the higher spenders in NIL. And that obviously gives them also, no matter who, if it's one more commitment or two more commitments to end this 27 class before the kickoff of the football this year. That's why Texas will still be in it for some other guys late too, that aren't even known or offered right now. A couple of guys are going to pop up. Probably linebacker, potentially another defensive back.
Oh, we got some more super chats this morning. This one here from Rocky P. Thank you, Rocky P. He says, Jerry, what am I missing about this running back out of Tennessee that's getting $1 million plus in NIL? His stats aren't that eye-popping to generate that. What gives?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a really talented guy. He's from Canada. He moved down to the States last year. He is a extremely gifted player, right? I mean, extremely gifted player. He had some big games. I mean, look, he was a junior All-American. I think the one thing with the running backs is not every guy is going to rush for 3,000, 2,500, 3,000, 3,500 yards. Look, Derek Cooper stats weren't eye-opening. Even as a senior, Derek played a little bit. He had a high ankle sprain, but he played a little bit on defense as well. So I think the day and age of all these guys having to be all these massive production seasons doesn't happen as often anymore.
Who led Texas in rushing the last 2 years? Trey Wisner. What position did Trey Wisner play in high school?
Slot receiver half the time after his move.
That's what I'm saying. And so I don't worry about stats, even though stats can be an indicator of success. The young man, I think he transferred to Baylor Academy, which is a boarding school in Chattanooga. I've seen him play. He's really, really talented. He runs through tackles. He's quick. He's got good hands. I mean, he's just a good player. Yeah, that's the guy I was talking about earlier that I thought might be as good as anybody in the country. Yeah, which I certainly think Landon Williams-Callis is as good as anybody in the country too. So I think you have, to Jerry's point, Jerry thinks there's 3 or 4 that are similar. I think there's 2 that I've seen. I haven't looked at those other guys in South Carolina like Jerry has, though.
Yeah, I think the main guys can't come on spell that it belongs in
Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
that's going to Georgia. Yeah. I haven't watched him. I think Blake has frozen. Man, that looks like air. Frozen Blake looks like that with his eyes closed.
Why do we take that away? We need to bring that back. Oh, now he's gone.
We took it away because we needed to. Hey, Jerry, a couple of things to talk about here as well. It is number 61 today. Paul Jatan, I remember him playing at Texas. I do not remember Bud McFadden, although he won a national award at Texas. And Jerry, he's from one of my favorite named high schools and places in the state of Texas. You know where Bud McFadden's from? Ira Ann.
Oh, Ira Ann.
Yeah, out in West Texas. And he is a guy that I think he won it with I thought it was with Darrell Royal. Saying 1950, I think that's 1960, isn't it?
No, he was the 1951 first 11th pick overall in the first round.
Interesting. Okay. Ira Ann, Texas, though. Ira Ann is actually, it looks like Iran, Iraan, but I've got to say this. You pronounce it Ira Ann because it's named after 2 people, Ira and Ann. So they just moved it together.
There you go.
That's a little Texas trivia for you.
And today, the enrollment of that high school is 109. 109. Blake, that's smaller than Comanche by a lot.
That's a lot smaller than Comanche.
That's a high school graduating class of like 27, probably.
At the most, on a good day.
Is it 109 in the K through 12 or just in the high school?
I think it's just in the high school. 100. Yep, grades 9 through 12, 109. Dang. They won't be moving up any classification
No.
Not soon.
ever.
All right, guys. Let's see here. Before we move on and before my internet connection goes crazy again, I need to tell everyone this morning about our friends over at Prize Picks, because there's a lot of ways to watch sports. You can sit back, you can check the score, maybe flip between games, or you can have something riding on every swing, every shot, every touch, every possession. That's where Prize Picks comes in. The summer sports calendar is loaded right now. Baseball's rolling. WNBA has been a blast. World Cup has everybody watching. And Prize Picks gives you a simple way to make all of it more interesting. You're just looking at player projections and deciding one thing, more or less. That's it. You build your lineup, you submit your picks, and now you're locked in from that first whistle to the final out. And today we're going with some World Cup action. We got Ronaldo to have more than half a shot on target. The man's chasing 1,000 career goals, so you know he's not going to be shy. And then we're also taking Lamine Yamal to have more than half a shot on target, because Spain keeps putting the ball at his feet. And when that happens, he's going to create chances. And that's what makes Prize Picks fun. You trust your read, you make the call, and suddenly every little moment matters. And yes, Prize Picks is available in all 50 states, including right here in the great state of Texas. So download the app, use code HMA, play $5 in lineups, and you'll get $50 in lineups instantly. Again, that's code HMA on the Prize Picks app. 5 gets you 50. As always, play smart, play responsibly, play Prize Picks. We got another super chat this morning. This one from Sports Talk Jay. He says, Chris Phillips of the SEC Unfiltered has Texas at Missouri for the trap game of the year for the Longhorns. What do you guys think it could be? And I will put the schedule up so everybody can pick one.
Where that fits on the schedule, Bobby, is I can see it. I think a lot of people are going to go with that for Texas, because obviously you had the run of Florida, of Oklahoma, Florida, Ole Miss. You have Mississippi State at home. Then you hit the road, and it's a week before LSU. And Missouri. I think Eli Drinkwood's is a really good football coach at a tough job. So I can see why people are saying that. Missouri's going to be more hyped up than Texas is for that game. It's not a huge stadium. It's an early game. Can you sleepwalk? Not sleepwalk, but are you not going to have your emotional A game for that after the stretch you've just been playing on before LSU? There's so many things that can happen before that game's played, but preseason, I can see why people are picking that game.
Yeah, I think that someone mentioned Florida. I think that's possible. The one that, but I think Texas's antennae will be up for Florida based on what happened last year. So I don't see that as a trap game. I see that as just they realize Texas is going to have to be good. Like Texas already knows they can't give a C game or a B- game against Florida and expect to win. They did that last year where they went and laid a D or an F at the feet of the Gators in Gainesville and got, ceremoniously dumped on their, whats.
Yeah.
So I don't see that as a trap game. Missouri, I don't see as a trap game because they're going to be going on the road for the first time. Well, if I had to pick a trap game, it's Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Because you're going to think, I got through this gauntlet of OU, Florida, and Ole Miss. And if you somehow emerge from that undefeated, and now you got to play Mississippi State, isn't that kind of a drop down in some respects?
Yeah.
And if Mississippi State if their quarterback is still healthy at that time, which is going to be questionable because they do run the quarterback so much. If their quarterback is still healthy at that time, that could be the trap game for me, actually, even though it's at home.
Yeah.
Missouri is not the one for me, guys. Not the one.
I'll say this, and I think I agree with you, Bobby. It's one of those two games. I'll tell you this. I think the game Texas is going to play, they're not going to be in danger of losing the game. I think the game Texas may play their worst in all year is going to be UTSA. But it's not a trap game. Yeah, and right before Tennessee, it's not a trap game that you're going to lose. But I think if there's a game that Texas may sleepwalk a little into and maybe not look as emotionally charged, which means maybe you don't play as well, it's going to be UTSA. But that they're not going to lose to UTSA. They could probably win that game by 28, even if you weren't emotionally up for it, because you'll pull away late, even if it's a halftime game like UTSA gave A&M last year. But that's the game where I just think you might see more of the mistakes that you don't expect to see. It's going to be hard for Texas to play an A game or even a B+ game against UTSA coming off Ohio State and before Tennessee.
Well, we'll think about it this way. Remember that we were talking late last week, Jerry, about what was Sark's best called game of his tenure at Texas. We think while there were a lot of thoughts, the consensus centered around the Alabama game of 23.
Yep.
In Tuscaloosa, because it was a complete game.
Yep.
Play calls. He didn't just dial it up early. He dialed it up late. Yada, yada. Well, what was the game after that?
Yeah, it's Wyoming. Somebody brought it up. Yep.
Yep. And so that could be there's evidence of that being the case previously, to your point, Jerry. And so UTSA also has a quarterback. It's pretty good little player. So I think that that could be it. But I think Mississippi State is the one that can hurt Texas because of that quarterback. He gets hot. You got receivers that can run. I mean, that's what Levy does. It's the Art Briles offense. They get a couple big scores. They've got a good running back. We've seen him before. Did they get better on the offensive line? I think they took one of LSU's starters.
Yeah.
I don't know. Arkansas, a trap game. Arkansas is in Austin, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Texas, that was not a trap game for Texas last year. Arkansas is decimated on defense, man.
Yeah. I don't have any clue what Arkansas is even going to be like.
Do we? I mean, seriously. I mean, I'm not even that familiar with their coach. I mean, he was at Memphis, but
yeah,
I didn't watch a lot of Memphis football, so they did not kill it in the portal. They did okay.
Yeah, no, they're going to
think they did.
They're going to give Cal more money. Let's see. Yeah, what's interesting is, Arkansas, their schedule at the beginning of the year is really tough for them, right? I mean, they're at Utah, then they turn around and play the early game against Georgia. Obviously, their AD's been griping about that. They're at A&M, then they have Tennessee, then they're at Vandy. But I just kind of wonder, teams that don't have the depth, what they're even going to look like in a 9-game SEC schedule on November 21st. Like, what is your health of your team going to look like if you're Arkansas?
And that's when they play Texas.
Really tough team to gauge at all.
Yeah, late November is when they play Texas.
Yep.
So fair. Yeah. In Austin again. They're by the way, a scheduling tweak. They wanted to get Arkansas and A&M on different dates, so Texas wouldn't play both on the road back to back each year. So this is the year where they're going to go back to back Texas at home against Arkansas. So they played so now next year Texas will go to Arkansas and OU will come to Austin. Or not OU, I'm sorry. A&M will come to Austin. So they wanted to get those two back to back, and then obviously OU and Dallas.
We got a super chat here from Jameson. Thank you, Jameson. Are there any ties left, and are there any potential flips that you would like to see? Also, is OTF doing anything special for the first game?
Yeah, there's one out there. Potential flips. While Bobby answers the other part of that, let me look at potential.
Don't worry about it, dude. Don't worry about looking stuff up.
I want to look it up for potential flip. That's important, actually.
Okay. OTF doing anything special? We are going to have a tailgate this year. Still working out specific plans. We also are going to be working with the co-op again, and we also have a new partner in Shields who is coming to Cedar Park, the sports store. If you're unfamiliar with that, it's a sports superstore. and we'll be working with them this year as well. So we're going to have an outing over there. But lots of stuff going on around the first game, Jameson. So please, we'll keep you guys aware, and y'all please join us. The next thing on tap for us, actually, from a travel perspective, is the SEC Media Days. That happens in 2 weeks from today. Is it 2 weeks from? I think it is 2 weeks from today, right? We'll be in Tampa. Jerry, myself, Jeff, CJ. Blake, you're not going. You're going.
I'm going to the Texas high school coaches.
Right. Yeah. So we'll be doing that from Tampa down there. We've got a 4-day run down there. And then also, I guess we're not going to go to this, but Big 12 Media Days start tomorrow, I believe. And Joey McGuire, by the way, is at the mic. I wonder what he's going to say.
Beep, 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 beep. He's going to be backtracking and backing up, baby, tomorrow. Beep, 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 beep.
I really didn't think we should play Brendan Sorsby, but I went ahead and voiced my approval because I have to support Texas Tech athletes.
Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
Nobody will ask him the tough questions. That's the problem. Else he'd really be going beep, 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 beep. He ought to arrive in a UPS truck going backwards, beep, back. That's just the way I'd arrive if I was him and had a sense of humor. Beep, beep, beep. Because that's all he's going to be doing up there. As far as somebody I'd like to see Texas flip, I just had to look to make sure. It's an easy answer for me. It's Israel Hammonds. I'd love to see him come to the conclusion that, maybe I don't want to go to Oklahoma State. I think as much as Will Muschamp put into that recruitment, that tells you how good a player they think he's going to be. And he's an off-ball linebacker that can rush off the edge. If there was one guy right now and what's your need going to be left remaining in this class, it would be Israel Hammonds for me. Unless they find a linebacker that maybe there's somebody goes through a coaching change, maybe somebody that comes up out of nowhere as a senior in the state of Texas or nationally in the state of Florida or something that they really like and offer. I think if it's a known guy right now, it's Israel Hammonds for me. Because I also think, Bobby, I think that guy's going to be tremendous.
Choctaw, Oklahoma. Is that right?
Yep.
Or Mustang? Which one?
Choctaw.
And then what about Samaj Stanford, the other Oklahoma guy that signed or committed to Oregon? Would he be a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, the state of Oklahoma may have two guys. That's a good one too. I mean, I think Stanford's a stud player.
Yeah, I do too.
Yep.
But they're going to be looking for linebacker and safety, and those are the two that came to our mind. So
yep.
Let's see here. Speaking of linebacker, David Keith Williams says, what is the status of Jaden Nelson? If Texas can get their final 2 high-level targets in July, to me, the remainder of the cycle should be spent trying to flip Nelson.
The whole problem with that one is his stepbrother is enrolled at Texas Tech. That's the whole deal right there. And is the family – I think Nelson was very open to going somewhere else, and I said that. And I think colleges that recruited him felt that way too. But at the end of the day, that family kind of stayed together at the same college. Bobby, that's a tough one to overcome unless things just blow up in Lubbock.
Always possible. I think that Jaden Nelson is – I don't know how much time Texas is going to expend on him at this point. I would just add that too.
And let's see. Let's do this question here from Nacho Avenger. He says, outside of the 3 starters at wide receiver, which wide receivers / tight ends can make a huge impact with the attention that Wingo, Coleman, and Mosley will get?
Well, I think Jerry and I are big believers in Jermaine Bishop.
Yeah.
Even though he may not even be receiver number 4 out of the gate. That may be Dalen McCutcheon or Sterling Burkhalter. Which I think are 2 other names. Sterling Burkhalter has gotten a lot of comments, positive ones, from Steve Sarkisian about his maturity and the way he attacks things. And we haven't even talked about Khalid Lockett, who was poised for a breakout year potentially this year until he was injured in spring ball. So I look at that. You have obviously Nick Townsend returning. He's expected to be better this year. You have the tight end from Michigan State as well that's in. You know, I will say this, having talked to someone over the weekend, maybe the offensive player that people are not talking about enough. Now, this is any offensive player, is Raleek Brown. I got some really encouraging. I mean, I was told he's going to score a lot of touchdowns this year. Now, doesn't mean I asked him, what does that mean about Hollywood Smith? Oh, no, just Raleek Brown, they think is going to score a lot of touchdowns this year. What does that mean? We'll see. I do think it's to the idea that is there a fourth receiver? Well, maybe that fourth receiver is a running back.
Yeah,
out of the backfield.
Yeah, I can see that, and I think it's out of the backfield too, as much as running, taking handoffs. I think that he makes him very valuable at the wide receiver. I don't know where Jermaine Bishop's going to start in terms of that group, but I know where he's going to end, because once he's on the field enough, that's going to take care of itself.
You just can't take him off of it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan Scruggs. We were talking to Jordan Scruggs over the weekend. You and I were just off air, Jerry. Jordan Scruggs extremely high on Jermaine Bishop because, I mean, what he said he saw him 4 or 5 times his senior year. Just
look,
great with the ball in his hands.
When I saw Jermaine Bishop, I went with a friend that was covering Florida, and DJ Lagway was committed to Florida. Jermaine Bishop was the best player on the field. Lagway is a 5-star quarterback.
Yeah.
Because Jermaine Bishop plays the whole – it's like very Quandre Diggs-like, but they're different types of players. Jermaine Bishop plays the whole game. He either has a calf cramp or the coach takes him out of the game. That's the only way he's coming out of the game. And he performs on both sides of the ball with the same level of I don't know what you want to say, playmaking, if that's what you want to say. I mean, he's as good a playmaker on defense as he is on offense. And he was the most physical player on the field that night. He weighed 155 pounds at the time, probably 150 pounds. Those dudes just have it, man. And they have a level of confidence that is different. They have that's why I think Richard Wesley and him are, and I'm not saying Richard Wesley is going to put up numbers like a Jermaine Bishop will over the course of a season. Those guys have a level of confidence about them that I think gives coaches confidence in them.
All right. Well, we got time for just another question or two before we get out of here. But before we do that, Bobby, I need you to let us know about Longhorn Wealth Management Group one last time.
Yeah, thanks to John Donovan, President, Longhorn Wealth Management Group. John's proud Texas Ex's life member who served on the Dallas Texas Ex's board for 15 years and has now spent the last 4 years helping lead and support the growth of the new Collin County Texas Ex's chapter. John also consistently serves his fellow Longhorns as a certified financial planner and the founder of Longhorn Wealth Management Group, the firm he created and dedicated to serving UT alums, employees, as well as their family and friends. John's proud to have Longhorn Wealth Management honored by the Texas Ex's as a member of the 2026 Longhorn 100. The exclusive award recognized the 100 fastest growing companies in America from 23 to 25 that were either founded by, owned, or led by UT alums. This was John's first year to apply for the award, and he's excited that Longhorn Wealth came in number 32 on the list. To celebrate the great accomplishment and recognition, John wants to offer all OTF family a free private consultation via Zoom, phone, or in person to allow John to show you how working with a certified financial planner can help you maximize your wealth, minimize your taxes, and ensure your legacy, and to reduce or eliminate the risks to your current and future financial success. Please take time now to schedule your own free private consultation by calling either the Longhorn Wealth team at 972-707-4900 or scheduling online, www.longhornwealth.net. John and Longhorn Wealth team send a huge Longhorn 100 winner hook'em to all the OTF family. Thanks to John and his group for sponsoring On Texas Football.
All right, thank you, Bobby. Well, as I said, we got time for just another question or so. We got a super chat that just came in from our friend Longhorn Frenzy. Thank you. Appreciate you as always. He says, Jerry, what happens if Sales commits to Indy and Royal flips? Does Texas have any other receivers on radar they're looking at? Maybe late senior evaluation. Thanks, and hook 'em. You're muted.
Nobody that comes to mind. Take two. Nobody that comes to mind right now. I think it would be a senior year eval type of scenario.
That's a worst case scenario too, by the way.
Yeah. Take two is better than take one.
Hey, congratulations to Greg Fletcher. He says, good morning. Family just had a baby boy, Tatum Dallas. Hook 'em. Well, congratulations.
Congratulations, Greg.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing with us. Okay, guys, one more question.
I got to say this real quick. Something I've always noticed. The state of Texas has the best names for kids.
Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, you got Austin. That's a good first name. Houston. Tyler is a big one, right? Tyler, Texas. Dallas now.
Yeah.
Bigger name. What any other names in and around the state you can think of?
Ira Ann.
No. Okay.
No.
But those are some good ones.
They are good, right?
Yeah.
Tyler, Austin, Houston, Dallas.
To your point, I've never heard of a kid named Okeechobee Hamilton. Like Tallahassee Hamilton. Actually sounds good, but I've never heard it.
That's a race car driver from in the Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
Tallahassee Hamilton.
Bad.
All right. Our last question for today. We talked about Kamara to open the show, so let's talk about him to close it. Al Davis wants to know, between Swanson and Kamara, who do you think would go to right tackle and left tackle?
That's to be determined, I think, even for the staff. Like we talked about this before. I think people think, oh, Steve Sarkisian and Kyle Flood have these guys penciled in at a position. That happens less than you think. I think it's more get the guys in here and see where they fit best. I mean, look, somebody could come in and you're thinking about him being a right tackle and he's a left eye dominant person. I mean, there's so many things. There's some guys like Kelvin Banks was crazy, and it's why some people ranked him down late in his senior year, which was nuts to me. Because at the Under Armour game, for instance, with these guys, everybody that was coming in was a left tackle. And they literally stood up in the offensive line room and said, we need somebody to play right tackle. And Kelvin Banks raised his hand because that's who Kelvin Banks is. He said, I'll do it. Well, Kelvin Banks had played left tackle his whole life. The right tackle steps really got him screwed up for about 3 days. It's different. You know, he was slow to react to the steps at right tackle because he's always played left tackle. So I think people think, oh, this guy's penciled in as a left. There's a few guys that are penciled in as a left tackle, surefire guy. Kelvin Banks was one of those guys. But for the coaching staff, a lot of times it's like, we're going to get in here and see how they react, see where they fit best. I mean, look, Lucas Rowe is called a swing player. You know why he's called a swing player? Because the colleges don't know where he's going to end up. They think he has a chance to be a right tackle, but they're not sure. So he could be a guard. What if he comes in and
kills it?
And he just plays right tackle better than other guys, and he's going to be the right tackle. And so I think there's a bit of an unknown with these college coaches. They have thoughts, but very few guys are just truly penciled in at a spot.
I'm on the same. I'm so on board with what Jerry just said. It's not even funny. I can't tell you how many times you can pontificate about where a player might best play on the offensive line, and then you throw him into it, and all of a sudden he's a guard or he's a tackle. Just, I thought, to Jerry's point, he and I both thought Kelvin Banks was a left tackle. There were many people in the industry, including some guys that followed or that covered Texas. Oh, he's definitely a guard. He's definitely, and even though ultimately I think Jerry and I were correct in our assessment, you never know until they go and hit somebody, until they actually take on a speed rush against a real speed rush, not something that they see in high school, but a real one. You never know until somebody punches them in the gut on a spin. You just never know. And so I think that Kamara has the footwork to be a left tackle. I think John Turntine has the footwork to be a left tackle. I think Brian Swanson has the footwork. Will they be that though? Put them on the field and let's find out. May the best man win.
I was going to bring up Turntime because Ray and O's asked, do you think Kamara beats out Turntime? We don't know what position Kamara is going to play. I think his best football is way out in front of him.
Yeah.
But look what the things that were said about John Turntime in high school. It would, he's not big enough to play tackle. But you know what the colleges saw? A guy with elite athleticism and 80-plus inch wingspan. So it was his wingspan was that of a Justin Blaylock was a 6'3" guy that played tackle very effectively in college. There's a lot of guys. But then you saw John Turntine in the spring showcase, Bobby, and I walked away, and I already thought he could play tackle very, very well at the college level. I walked away from there. I don't have any doubts. Now, can he play other places? Sure, if you need him to. I think he's so good he could be good anywhere. But that guy he had the best body quickness and reactive quickness of any lineman Texas put on the field that day. Of any of them. And he's an elite athlete with tackle wingspan. Whoever is going up against Turntine's going to have their work cut out for him. Because Turntine's also going to be a year ahead, by the way.
Jordan Coleman is 2 years ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that his body type could be anywhere along the offensive front. And I think he's athletic enough. I mean, I look, people are bemoaning or have bemoaned the lack of talent in the pipeline at offensive line. And we've seen those naysayers or doubters or critiques, right? And some of that has been fair, but I think that Texas is recruiting at a level right now that people just don't. They're trying to get the best of every position possible, and you're not going to do that when you sign 5 offensive linemen. That being said, I think actually that the future of the Texas offensive line is really, really good and really, really bright. In part because how and who they've recruited to this point. So I like where they're at. I mean, I think people discounting Jackson Christian is not smart. Good player.
Yeah.
You know, just wait until he gets healthy.
I got one other one that just came in, fellas. This one from Bald Father Betts. Who was the guy that you had on who power rated Indiana and Miami number 1 and 2 in the preseason for last year's season? I forgot about that. Any update on what he has this year?
We haven't heard yet, but that was Steve Pelissaro.
Yep.
I think is his name. He's out of Cincinnati. He used to work with Pro Football Focus. We'll find out more from him. He asked, we'll have him back on. We had him on primarily for the NFL draft because he covers the NFL draft as well. But we'll have him back on before the beginning of the football season. Steve Pelissaro.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for this episode of Coffee and Football presented by John Donovan and Longhorn Wealth Management Group. Want to thank John and them, along with Zen AI, Prize Picks, and Mint Mobile, all for sponsoring today's show. Of course, thank you all for tuning in as well. And shout out to Marcus and his hat for joining us this morning. Bobby, what do you have later today?
We got a bunch of stuff coming up, trying to get to the bottom of some interesting news in football right now, as well as athletics as a whole. I may have something on that a little later today. We also have the live stream tonight with Rod Babers. The guys will be taking over, talking around 7 o'clock. Coach Shipley, I believe, will be joining he and CJ. So we'll see what happens there. Also on ontexasfootball.com, don't forget that. We'll have multiple articles all week long at On Texas Football, as well as good discussion among Longhorn fans at On Texas Football.
That live stream should be about the time USA plays in the World Cup, so that should be pretty spirited live stream, I'm guessing.
Look, I have not watched a lot of the World Cup, so I'm a little bit different than most folks.
Yeah,
have you all watched a lot of I like my sports where they use hands.
It's nothing against soccer. I've said it before. It's just not my thing. I've watched zero.
Yeah. It's hard whenever the score is 1-0 and it's like a hard fought game. Like I can appreciate a football defensive struggle of 10-7 win or whatever. but every single game feels like it's 10-7 in soccer.
No.
You know, not every single game, obviously.
Yeah. Like I said before, if I wanted to watch teams that couldn't score, I'd put the A&M and Texas Tech playoff games on repeat and watch football.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
they play Belgium tonight, by the way.
Yeah.
U.S. plays Belgium. Well, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah. Greg Fletcher here. What are the targets for the linebacker position?
That'll depend on a couple of things. Look, I think Texas was very – they have one overhang linebacker, Jabari Skuror, to be clear. But they were very, very selective on the interior linebackers or off-ball linebackers. They really recruited 4 guys, essentially. They backed off a couple of guys they could have got after unofficial visits. I think you're going to see them be very selective, and I also think you'll see them make decision on portal versus high school linebacker. And then you have something else that's factoring in. I think this is why they were so selective in their process at those positions. Now, they didn't get the guys they wanted, to be clear. Israel Hammonds was probably the top guy. They like Joe Kim Gouda, but he was from the Atlanta area, went to Georgia as a thumper linebacker. But what'll be interesting to me, Bobby, is as we get out here is what do they see from those freshmen? They've liked all of them that early on, but then you get into the season. And Justin Cryer can come back for the 5-year rule now. So if you went ahead, if you brought back Justin Cryer for a 5th year, or you may choose that over taking the high school guy in this class at the end of the day. That 5-year rule is going to change a little bit with how they look at a couple of these positions late.
I'll be interested to see if Justin Cryer actually is what they hope he is. So yeah. I think, look, I mean, he's not I want to say this, and I think he's a good player. Can he cover out of the backfield? That's my biggest question with him.
All right, now then, we hope you all have an outstanding day today. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then.
Welcome, Horns.